Hey, you guys. Hey. Okay, you guys. I don't even know what to call this video. It's basically like an update. This is basically an update to the different things that God's been showing me so far this month. He's been having me, well, as y'all know, he's been having me reshare a lot of older messages, a lot of older dreams back to back. And, I just been following as he's been leading me to share those things, but he also wanted me to make this update on some of the things he's been talking to me about so far this month. So that's what this video is going to be about. I don't know if I'm just going to title it update or anything else, but it's basically an update on, the things God has been talking about to me so far this month. Okay. Y'all been off of camera so long, I'm starting to feel a little nervous, and then I'm struggling with my allergies, so y'all bear with me, okay? I've been having, my allergies been flaring up. We had snow like a week ago. It was real cold, and now it's right back hot, but that's Texas weather for you. So, but one of the first things God was showing me was that a transition is taking place, okay? A lot of people are about to transition. Some have already started. And if you haven't, that's what's going on. A transition is taking place. He brought up before a changing of guards. That's something I heard him say in a previous word he had me sharing. I heard him say a changing of guards was taking place. So that's what some people are experiencing right now as well. Aside from the test and the spiritual warfare, where if you've been on this journey for a while now, you know that just comes apart with the growth and elevation. It's like we have a testing period. We have a period where God has us prepare. We have a period where we have to fight, and the test. And then we have a resting period. We have a time too where God blesses us, and we have a little testimony of how we were worried about one situation. And then God comes through, and then, hey, nobody but God got us through, right? So throughout this process, it's like on a loop. We go through these things on a loop. And as I mentioned before, it's training for us to prepare us. So, but a transition has been taking place. And some people have experienced it, and some people are literally about to experience it. And something God was showing me that this go round, one of the reasons he was having me reshare all of these dreams back to back, and older dreams already shared. And I was trying to make sense of it at first, and I was trying to find the logic in it. Like, say I shared a dream January the 20th of last year, and then he want me to reshare it again on January of 20th of this year. That was my logic thinking at first. And then God switched it up on me, and he started saying titles that were 2 years old, or, weren't even in the month of January a couple years ago. So I just had to go with however he was leading and not try to figure out what he's doing, but just obey. Jesus is Lord. And maybe that's for somebody too. Just obey. Every single time you think you have God figured out, he will surprise you every single time, and he will switch it up. So I just been trying to stay in step, or wherever he's leading. And so he said a transition is taking place, but things are going to go faster, swifter than before. Right? That's why it's so many words back to back. Now, the words I've been sharing, the dreams I've been sharing, if you just started following this page, welcome, y'all, by the way. But if you just started following this page, if you weren't following before, so before, I used to only share a prophetic dream maybe once a week or once every other week. Okay? I don't just hop on here and start sharing a dream. I had to sit with this stuff for a while. God has to break these things down for me. It takes time. So usually I would share a prophetic dream maybe once a week or once every other week. And I had been sitting with it with God for a while. I've been praying about it. And then God has given me so many confirmations to release it and let it go. And it normally goes like that for me. So me sharing so much back to back on these reshares, God was speaking something to me that things are going to happen faster, swifter. That's why it's so much information. So we go through things in different seasons. So in my dreams, I see people in groups and in sections, right? I see people in different groups and sections. I'm usually in the group of the last being first. But what God was showing me that, so some of the people who I was in a group with previously, we may have already been through all this training and stuff. And he just recently woken up some new people. Okay. And like the people in my previous group, it may have taken us a year or 2 years to get all the knowledge and wisdom and just, all the things that God has been showing us and teaching us. It may have taken us a year or two to get all this information or longer. For this new group of people that God is bringing in, they're going to get it in a shorter period of time. Okay. And for those who've been walking with God for a while, and now he has y'all getting in a position of some form of leadership, of stepping out, of being seen, no longer being hidden, is so you can help other people who are being, freshly woken up or whatever, to get in position. Okay. I mentioned this on a dream before, that I had a dream that I think it was a seed. Y'all don't quote me on it because I have so many dreams and I haven't listened to this one in a while. But I think I had a seed, and I approached two people and I gave them both a seed. And when they planted it, the fruit grew twice as big as its normal size. It was abnormally large. And the message God gave me from that dream was that I would help people learn the things that he taught me in a shorter period of time, right? So it could have taken me a year to learn some things. It could have taken me a year, to finally come to understand some things. But I'm going to teach somebody else how to learn it in a month or 2 months, okay? That's what he was bringing to mind. He mentioned the changing of guards, the harvest being plentiful, the workers being few, and that he needs us to get in position. Okay, you guys, I just had a phone call that messed up my video. Y'all forgive me. Jesus is Lord. And I've been dealing with that too, a lot of distractions. So some of y'all may have been dealing with a lot of different distractions while you're trying to do the things that God told you to do, right? But just push through, and, get it done anyway. So I'm looking at my notebook because I made a list of some of the things that God brought up to me. So he talked about transitions, the changing of guards. God is dealing with his church, okay? That's something beginning of the year that he was really showing me, that he's dealing with his church. I think he's going to be doing that a lot this year. It's something he brought up before, but the way he brought it up to me basically was he brought up some people, like one of them was a guy, a Christian artist or whatever. He brought up some people in leadership, okay? And even if you're like a Christian singer or artist, that's still a form of leadership. You don't have to be a pastor to be in a form of leadership. And so he brought up different people who are believers, who are leaders in the kingdom of God. And God don't only do this to me, but basically he brought up their past. And y'all, I done told y'all before, I am excellent when it comes to minding my business. I'm not really big on gossip or looking into other people's life. To me, that's their business. That don't have nothing to do with me. And so Jesus is Lord. Not that I don't care about other people's stuff. When people are going through things, it's just that like mess and drama and stuff like that. I'm not into that. And so it was some people who, I listened to their music and stuff. I have been listening to their music for years, and God brought them up to me. And he basically exposed, some things, some sin in their life, basically. Now, the things they did took place years ago, but I'm always like the last to find out. So I never knew, that some of these people, for instance, cheated on their spouse or committed adultery while they were in ministry. I never knew any of that. I never knew. And so this one day in particular, when God was telling me he was dealing with his church, he shined light on certain people, and then he kept putting it in front of me. And then he led me to research. And when I researched, I'm like, oh, snap, like this person cheated on their spouse, and that person cheated on their spouse. And then this person, he was basically shining light and exposing his leadership in the church, right? And mind you, this was old news. This stuff happened years ago, but I didn't know about it, right? And so it was new news to me. But at the time, he had been showing me the number 515 as well. He had been showing me that number a lot too, which basically, like he showed me before, he's calling a lot of people to get in position, okay? He's calling a lot of people to use the gifts and talents that he's giving you to get in position, whatever that may look like for you. I can't tell you, what God wants you to do exactly. Only He can, right? And He's calling a lot of people to get in position, but some of y'all have been feeling inadequate, and that's been stopping you and hindering you. And basically, when He was shining light on some of the leaders, and not only did He show me some people who, was representing Him, but living one way behind closed doors, right? And this stuff happened years ago. He's been shining light on stuff that's happening right now that's being exposed. And what He was putting on my heart was that's the reason there's this strong calling for us to get in position, okay? Some of y'all may feel like because of your imperfections or your issues that God can't use you, but He's calling you right now. He's calling you right now. And even me, like myself, the higher He calls me, Jesus is Lord. Sometimes I do struggle with, looking at my imperfections. But then here God is saying, look, this is who I've had representing me. He's shining light on the leaders who have been representing Him, living one way, in front of the screen, and then living another way behind closed doors, right? Saying one thing out their mouth, but doing the opposite behind closed doors. And God was talking about integrity and those who truly serve Him in spirit and in truth, and those who truly do, represent Him in front of the camera and behind closed doors. And so some of y'all, you may feel inadequate because of your past, or inadequate because you feel like you haven't, developed enough in Him or reached a certain level in Him yet. But God is like He can use you right now, right here, right now, with what you know and what you've learned because of your heart, and your integrity. A lot of y'all have more integrity and a heart for God than the people who are currently representing Him, okay? And y'all, I'm not judging nobody. And that's why I'm not calling out none of these people by names. I'm just sharing with y'all what God has been sharing with me this month. He was calling out His church, and He said He's dealing with His church, and exposure is coming to His church. I want to say in a way it never has before. Jesus is Lord. And this is a part of the changing of guards as well, and people getting into position. He's going to expose some people, move them out of the way. And He wants us to be ready and prepared to step into position. Even people who have freshly waken up to God, right? You don't have to be waiting for somebody else to give you permission to do what God has called you to do, okay? You don't have to get man's permission to, whatever God is telling you to do, whatever He's putting on your heart to do, okay? Okay, you guys, so I'm looking down at my notes, but so exposure is taking place, especially in the church. He mentioned that. People getting in position, a transfer of powers. Okay, so with all these reshares God has been having me do with the reshares, He's been showing them to me in different ways. He's been shining light on them in different ways that I didn't see before, y'all. And the dream He had me reshare called the transfer of power, something He shined light on afterwards. And again, He mentioned changing of guards with that too. And that dream of transfer of powers, it was a pretty short dream if y'all want to check it out. I was basically standing I was kind of floating in the middle of a group of people. They were on this circular staircase, so to speak, a staircase that, starts from the bottom and then comes around, on both sides. I'm holding this book, so I can't show y'all with my other hand. But it was different people on different positions of that staircase. There was one at this lower level, one at the side level, then one at the top, and they were all positioned all around the circular staircase. And all of a sudden, I saw these lights. It was like this power was taken from them. It was literally taken from them. And it came out like glowing lights. And as the power left all of them one by one, it came into a big ball, like glowing ball, and it positioned itself in front of me. And I had an understanding that I was supposed to take it in for myself, right? I was supposed to possess all that power myself. That's the understanding I had in the dream, but I hesitated. And I recently reshared that dream, so y'all can check it out if you want to. It's called the Transfer of Powers, and God added, it's okay, God chose you, Jesus is Lord. So I related it to the wealth transfer that some people have talked about, but also God led me to title it Transfer of Powers and not necessarily wealth. And after I reshared it, He expanded upon it. So the people I saw in that dream, where it looked like power was leaving them, and it was like lights leaving them or whatever, glowing lights that was leaving them. The powers they once had was leaving them. God said it was nothing wrong with the power. It was just in the wrong hands, right? Something else God showed me. He showed me that in a different way. Jesus is Lord. So God has been talking a lot about kingdom marriages. Y'all, I'm not a kingdom marriage, like, I don't necessarily just give kingdom marriage words. I talk about whatever God is talking about, okay? So whatever he's talking about, that's what I'm going to be talking about, okay? It's not my favorite thing to talk about, if I'm being honest. So, but Jesus is Lord. But he's basically bringing these marriages together on a broader scale than we've seen so far. Like I said, things are going to go faster this time. Things are going to go swifter this time than before. And he's basically bringing them together. And he related that to the transfer of powers, okay? So just like I saw those glowing lights leaving those people, and then one by one they came to me, some of that will be like your spouse, okay? Some of the powers will be your spouse, basically. Jesus is Lord. Like, say your kingdom spouse was talking to somebody else. Say they was talking to someone else. They've been with someone else this whole time. God is taking them from that person. He's going to expose some things and remove them from that person, and they'll be coming to you, okay? That is one of the transfer of powers. That I didn't like when I first had that dream and shared it. He didn't show it to me in that way, but after I shared it, he said that was one of his examples of how he was going to transfer power, okay? So, and it was a dream he gave me as well, where there was basically, I've had like several kingdom marriage dreams and warning dreams for after the marriage, of the tests that are going to take place. And in one of the warning dreams, there's a kingdom spouse that, went to be with their wife like they were supposed to be. But basically, the person they left behind, because they were with somebody else first, and they left that person to be with their spouse, the kingdom spouse that God told them they were supposed to be with. And when they left that person was basically crying wolf, making a big deal about it, playing victim and all this stuff. And God showed it to me like that. It's like that person lost your spouse and you gained them, right? Like, you got your kingdom spouse, you got your marriage promise, but that person lost, right? Because he's taking them back from that person. He's taking them from a place they never should have been in the first place. He's taking them away from the counterfeit, and he's putting them in position with you how they should be to begin with, okay? And he showed me the transfer of powers that way, that your spouse being taken back from that person and put back in position with you. That's one of the things that's also another form of promotion that he showed me. Okay, some of y'all, I shared the dream with y'all about promotion. Promotions are coming. Some of y'all promotions will be where you're finally about to get married. You're finally walking into your marriage promise. That is another level of responsibility. That is another level of elevation. It's no longer just going to be about you. It's like during this process with just you and God, you've been developing, finding out who you are in him, right? Just with you by yourself. But then when you get with another person, you gotta adjust. Yeah, I keep getting so many distractions. It's unreal. Jesus is Lord. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I had to stop the video again. But so yeah, he was talking about promotion. When you come into marriage, you do have to adjust. Okay, it's no longer just all about you. It's about two becoming one, so you have to adjust. But also promotion in ministry too. If y'all have started different ministries, God is going to take it up another level. Okay, he's about to elevate it another level because there's a need for it. And so he's been trying to prepare you. I've been seeing 212 a lot too, for preparation, to getting in position and preparing for the things that he's already talked to y'all about. And if this is for you, you already know it's for you, because these are things he's already talked to you personally about. And I'm just coming on here as an update and a confirmation, basically to give confirmation to these things, that you and God have already talked about. So the promotion will be for ministry as well. Some people, they're elevating in ministry. Some people are elevating in gifts. And some people's elevation is going to go into marriage. You're mature enough to go into marriage, okay? And you're ready for it and you've done the work. Some people are being promoted as well, where they're going to be a parent. You're going to finally conceive and have that baby. So that's a promotion as well that some people are coming into. Jesus is Lord. And then also he had me share some pregnancy dreams with you guys as well. And something he wanted me to shine light on is the multiple births. As we go through this process with God, it's like we're constantly giving birth. We're constantly growing. We're constantly producing new things. Jesus is Lord. But one thing, there was a dream that he gave me about birth, but it was about a rebirth. And I might reshare that. I'm going to listen to it again and see if he wants me to reshare it. But another way he has showed me this that he wanted me to share with y'all is a lot of y'all are being reborn yourselves, right? A lot of y'all are giving birth to basically you, the new version of you, okay? When God exposes the different things to us in our lives, our different vices or people or, habits that we used to have. And we're learning and we're developing in him. And we're learning to live his way and we're learning to do things, his way. And we're learning that we had so many open doors in our lives due, to sin, to bad habits, to things we once did that we thought were innocent. But in truth, it was just allowing the enemy to come in and out of our lives whenever he wanted to. It gave him access to us. Jesus is Lord. So a lot of y'all have been going through that process, and this birth that you're giving, like what you're giving birth to now, is this new version of you. It's like a rebirth taking place. And you know what? I think I'm going to reshare that one as well. I need to listen to it, but he brought it to mind. So I think I'm going to have to reshare that one as well. So some of that is taking place as well. Y'all are being reborn. You're not the same, right? Jesus is Lord. It's making me think about the scripture about the new wineskins, but you're not the same. You've been reborn. And so I also mentioned that things are going to happen quickly. The harvest will happen quickly. Things will change overnight for a lot of y'all. And then he just wanted me to reiterate taking notes. And I already reshared that message about taking notes about where you are right now. God wants you to be taking notes on everything you're experiencing. And I know I just reshared that message, but yeah, I took a lot of notes, like especially in the beginning when God was developing my gift. But I wish I took more notes. I really do. Like sometimes you can get used to God doing something, like showing you something one way over and over, and you think he gonna keep doing it that way, but he will switch it up. He will, as soon as you get used to it, he will switch it up in a heartbeat. He will switch it up in a heartbeat. And I remember when God was growing my gift, like every single morning, every morning I would wake up, he will whisper in my ear audibly. Like every single morning, he will whisper something in my ear audibly right before I open my eyes. And it was like the best thing in the world. And I used to love it. I used to love it. I would go to sleep at night and I would be excited because I didn't know what he was going to tell me when I woke up the next morning. And so every night I'm like, oh, he going to tell me something in the morning because he just kept doing it over and over again. And then one morning I woke up and he didn't say nothing. He said nothing. And I was like, did I do something wrong? And I tried to go back to sleep. I said, let me try it again. Because he said absolutely nothing. And so, I tried to go back to sleep, but then I ended up having to get up because I had to get my daughter to school. And so, but he said nothing. And I went wondering that day. I'm like, Daddy, why didn't you say something to me this morning? Why didn't you speak to me this morning? Because I thought I did something wrong. So I spent my day wondering if I did something wrong to offend him or something. But he just had to show me, like, God will, when God is training and developing you, he might move one way, for a certain period of time. And then he might switch it up. He might change it. He might do it differently. Don't put him in a box. I had to learn. I had to learn not to put him in a box and not to limit him and how he desired to speak. So for probably about I want to say at least a week and a half or 2 weeks, he was just, I'm hearing his voice audibly every single morning. And y'all, man, it's a treat to hear God's voice audibly. Like, it is a treat to hear his voice audibly. So I was enjoying it. And I'm thinking, like, it's just up from here. We're going to be talking audibly all the time. That's what I was thinking and hoping. Jesus is Lord. But he shifted it. And then he went from doing it every day to every other day. So that one morning I didn't hear him audibly. Then the next day he spoke again audibly. Then after that, he didn't speak audibly. And then it went a couple of days of me not hearing his voice audibly. And then he would randomly do it. And so I never knew when to expect it, but I was just grateful for the times that he did it, you know? So just saying that for somebody too, God will switch things up. During this time, you should really be taking a lot of notes. I find myself going back to the notes that I took and the recordings that I made and listening to them for the season that I'm in now. Do you know that God literally gave me words for myself 2 years ago that I'm needing right now, that are helping me get through the time I'm in right now? And so that's just something he wanted me to shine light on, because some of y'all are in the beginning stages of developing in him, and you may think certain things are small, but they're a real big deal later, and you're gonna, really wish you took more notes, okay? So that's something he just wanted me to share for some people, especially on the dreams and visions he's giving you and the things that he's telling you, and even how he developed your gift. And I also wish I took more notes so I could share more with you guys. That's another reason, because it's almost like, even though I know it didn't happen as fast as it feels, right? It seemed like everything happened so fast. It seemed like the time went by so fast. But I remember each day, like, just sitting and developing with him. And I just wish I would have documented it better, And so that's something, to keep in mind for y'all who are going in this journey as well. And now I'm trying to make sure, even now, that I'm documenting more. I'm making more notes for myself so I can have this, because God gives us words ahead of time as well. And then also a lot of the things you guys are experiencing right now, like some of y'all may be struggling with your faith right now. Jesus is Lord. Some of y'all may be struggling with y'all faith right now, different things right now, but it's not going to look like this forever. It's not going to look like this forever. And the things that you document now will be a blessing to you later in the future. Not only will it bless you, but it will bless others. A lot of those old words God had me reshare, I had to push past some pride to reshare some of them words, because I didn't want to share them old words. Some of them was cool, but then some of them I was like, I don't like how I look on this video. I don't like how I sound, and I didn't want to share them. But I shared them anyway out of obedience and pushed past pride. And I was thinking, like, they going to get me for sharing all these old words. But at the end of the day, I had to, do what God is leading me to do. But Jesus is Lord. Y'all be taking notes. Y'all be taking notes, because this stuff in the future not only help others, but it's going to help you too. All right. It's going to help you too. And then also, you guys, this going to seem random, but this is something that God told me to do. So I had to do it out of obedience. I had to share some poems with y'all. Okay. When I first started doing this, God had me share, I think it was 5 poems. I think it was 5. I'm not sure. So if I got the number wrong, don't get me. But it was 5, I think 5 poems that I said when I was younger. Like at our old church when I was younger, I used to say poetry sometimes. That was one of the, ministries that I did. I would minister poetry sometimes, spoken word. And these are poems that I wrote with God. And so at the beginning of this journey for me, like making these videos, he had me share these poems. This is right when he was talking about the separation process, that it had begun. Right when he gave me the dream about the separation process beginning, that's when he told me to start releasing the poems, right? Before I ever even shared the dream. I never even knew he was going to ask me to share the dream, okay? I thought I was just going to be sharing my weight loss journey and the poetry, and I thought that was going to be it. And after I shared the poetry, then that's when he told me to share the dreams next. But I'm saying it to say it was a time and it's a season that he wanted me to share them in. So he had me share the poems in the beginning, and now he's having me share them again. So I'm going to be resharing some poems that I already shared on here, you guys. I'm just letting y'all know because this is something he's literally instructed me to do. He's concluding the separation process for some people, and some are just now going through the process. They're in the beginning stages of their separation process. Okay, it's happening again. It's coming around again, but now it's new people coming in there as well, which is another reason why God has me resharing a lot of old words as well. So y'all keep me in prayer because I didn't want to say these poems again either. Jesus is like, I didn't want to say these poems again either because when I first said these poems, I had to share them on my personal page first, like my personal page, and I'm a real private person. So my personal pages are normally set to private. I never had a page where anybody like from the public could view it until God instructed me to make stuff like this. Before then, all my pages were set to private. And so anyway, so he first instructed me to share these poems. Well, first he instructed me to share my weight loss journey, and I did that. And then after when I shared my weight loss journey, you know, my family and friends was like, yeah, it was all love, congratulations, and all that stuff, right? And then after that, God is like, share your poems. And I'm like, you know, I ended up doing it. Long story short, I ended up doing it. But when I shared them poems, it was crickets. It was literal crickets. And God gave me instructions to stay off of social media as well. So I was allowed to go on social media just to post the poems, but then I had to get off of it. I wasn't allowed to scroll. I wasn't allowed to look at other stuff. I just could literally get on there, post the poems, and get off of it. And God had me doing it like that to where I was basically fasting from social media for probably a good 2 or 3 months in the beginning. So by the time I was finally able to just get on social media and scroll, when I checked my account, I lost a lot of friends after I said those poems. I mean, people I've been knowing for years. I've been knowing these people for double-digit years. They unfollowed me after I said these poems. And then even some of them, like, one was a friend I knew from the gym. And I had saw her recently, and I was like, she was acting funny with me. And I didn't know why she's acting funny with me. And then come to find out, when I looked, she unfollowed me from being a friend, you know, it was on my Instagram. She unfollowed me. I'm like, she ain't like them poems either. So the poems are truth. They're truth, but Jesus is Lord. They're truth, but they can be offensive. Jesus is Lord. So y'all pray for me. I had to reshare them out of obedience and let the chips fall wherever they may. But yeah, so I'm just letting y'all know that I'm going to be resharing those poems again because that's something that God literally instructed me to do for the times and the seasons that we are in. Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay. Yeah, the times and the seasons we're in is calling for it. And I don't want to make any assumptions, but I do have a lot of new dreams. Well, I have some new dreams to share. But it's definitely dealing with the shift that it's dealing with the shift that's about to take place. A lot of the dreams I had to share moving forward. So I'm getting out all of these out of obedience so God's people can have what they need. These pieces of the puzzle, you know, to help for the different places y'all are in right now. Okay, you guys. And then lastly, I just want to add this just because it's a dream I haven't shared yet. And I'm going to share it as soon as God tells me to share it. But if you are on a kingdom spouse journey, or whatever you want to call it, if God has told you who your person is and he's basically been telling you to pray for them and you have possibly stopped praying for them because you have been frustrated or tired, I just want to encourage you to start back praying for them. However God leads you to start back praying for them. If you already know that's something God is leading you to do, you don't have to talk to them. You don't have to, reach out and communicate unless God tells you to. But I just kind of want to, I don't know why I feel like saying implore, implore you, I don't know, to pray for them right now, okay? Okay, you guys, I had to look this up after I did this message. So when I was recording this, I heard God saying implore, implore. Implore is not a word that I would normally use. I mean, I might use that word in writing, but I wouldn't use it, in my vocabulary, my daily vocabulary to express something out loud verbally. But so I was hearing implore, so I felt led to look it up afterwards. And implore means to beg someone earnestly or desperately to do something. Right? The example here is he implored her to change her mind. Jesus is Lord. Of all the examples they could have they gave the example. He implored her to change her mind, to beg earnestly, to implore for mercy. Jesus is Lord, y'all. Like I mentioned, God has been showing me his love in new ways, which I'll have to make a different message on, a separate message on. But it's basically, for some people in your kingdom spouse, it's basically detrimental at this point that you are praying as God is leading you to pray, that you are forgiving so God can forgive you as well, because we all fall short of the glory of God. Now, God understands that, they may have done some things that are not right. And he's not, looking the other way when it comes to that, and he will deal with them according to that. But this right here is about their salvation. Okay, this is about their salvation. And you're not hearing from a person who has not gone through some of the same things that y'all have gone through. You're not hearing from a person who is not tired. God had to give this to me for me to receive first, because I was tired of praying. Literally tired of praying for someone who seems to constantly disregard me, or in some ways I feel disrespect or mistreat, because I'm like, this brother, he obviously can't see. And here God is opening my eyes daily, and the more God shows me and the more I grow in him and step into purpose, it's harder to tolerate such behavior. So the thing is, God is not asking you to tolerate misbehavior. What he's asking you to do is pray, is stand in the gap, because for some of these people, you are the only one praying. Again, that definition, implore, means to beg. To beg someone earnestly or desperately to do something. And then the example given, he implored her to change her mind. Some of y'all have allowed your hearts to go hardened towards these people, and that was never the will of God. So he's imploring some of y'all to change your mind and stand in the gap in prayer, because they need it. They need it. God will not go against his word. These people, some of them don't have common sense enough to repent for themselves right now while they out here blind like that. And how many of us would have made it this far if we didn't have, some people standing in the gap praying for us? Everybody didn't have that, but some people did. Some people did. But anyways, you guys, I just had to add that because God made it stand out. And also, I'm just going to share this with y'all briefly. I told y'all I had a dream. I had this dream in December of 2024. So the end of last year, I had this dream, and I'm just going to give you a part summary of it. I still have to share it when God tells me to, but basically in a dream, it was like it was basically like the kingdom spouse, right? Well, God had let me know part of the message from the dream was some of the kingdom spouses had experienced the deliverance, right? Some of them went through some form of deliverance last year. Seems like their eyes were being opened. Seems like God was working on their heart. They were changing. And then all of a sudden they switched back up. Okay. Well, God showed me some of them did start going through a deliverance, and he was clearing some things out of their life. But then, the scripture where it talks about, when demons leave, right? They go out looking for a new home, right? When those demons left, that they were battling with, that they were struggling with, they went out looking for a new home. And when they couldn't find one, they came right back, okay? They came right back to the kingdom spouse. The demons that left came right back with even more spirits or whatever, right? I literally saw this in a dream, and I had to share that dream with y'all, like I said, as soon as God leads me to. But God let me see it in a dream so I could physically see what that looked like. And it looked overwhelming in a dream. It was so many of them. Once I had defeated like one of them, and then all these other ones came back. It was so many, and I was so tired. And I had a knowing that I had to go back to this village that was behind me, and I needed to rest. Now, the thing about this, even though it looked intimidating because of the amount of opponents that I had to fight now, the amount of demons that came back, that they brought with them, right? There was no doubt in my mind that I could defeat every last one, that victory would be mine. There was not even a single doubt about it. The problem was I was tired, okay? One of them had this, what I heard was succubus, right? I was hearing like a succubus spirit. Yeah, I'm not the type that really knows all the names of the different demons and spirits. All I could tell y'all is what I see and then what I hear. But I was hearing succubus in regards to this dream when God gave it to me. So one of them had a spirit like that, and it was literally draining me while I was fighting. And so I had to run back to our village. We had a village in the dream. And in that place, I was going to be refreshed and revived. That's when God was talking to me a lot about refreshing and reviving us, because some of us have just gotten tired and you need to be refreshed. And certain things have been coming against you to try to drain you, in this fight, so you'll get tired. But God is going to revive you, and you're going to come back even stronger than before. The devil thought you would quit. No, this is just going to make you stronger. And this time, the enemy will be fully defeated, okay? So that's why I just wanted to share that part of it with y'all. That's why God is saying to pray. Earnestly pray, and you're praying for their salvation. I'm not saying call this person, let them disrespect you. I'm not saying keep putting your feelings out there and getting your feelings hurt, because if their eyes are closed and they're in the enemy's camp still, the devil gonna use them. He is going to use them as much as he can. He hasn't been given permission to destroy them. He don't have that permission. You've been covering them, from when you was covering them, and the fact that God has a purpose for their life as well. But he will use them if they're out of place, if they're in his camp. Okay, they're fair game. So this is where you come in with your sword and your shield and your belief in the word of God, or what God has been telling you and showing you in regards to this individual. And this is part of your purpose as a believer. We are fighting for lost souls. So if God reveals to you that one is headed to hell, that one is struggling, Jesus is Lord, pray and ask God to give you the strength to do what he created you to do. As hard as it may seem, you were built for this. You were created for this. And you can do all things through Jesus Christ, who gives you strength. And you have never been doing this on your own, even if it feels like it. Jesus is Lord. Anyway, you guys, listen. Before I made this recording, I went ahead and prayed for my kingdom spouse. And when I tell you, something in me shifted. I felt the power of the Holy Spirit all over me while I was praying for him. And something in me shifted, and it gave me some energy and strength that I needed. When you hold offense with these people in your heart, or if you hold on to any of it, it will drain you as well. And it's a door for the enemy to come in as well. Forgive swiftly. Set boundaries. Keep those boundaries unapologetically. I cannot talk to you and still pray for you out of love, respectfully. Okay? But anyways, you guys, I just had to add that God is imploring some of y'all to pray, to cover some people in prayer. It don't even have to necessarily be a kingdom spouse. It can be a prodigal. Whoever this is for, God has already put this on your heart. And if he has not, and this is your first time hearing it, if it's for you, he will confirm it later after you hear this message, okay? But anyways, I just want to add that. I love y'all. Take all of it back to God in prayer. All right. I just want to encourage you to start back praying for them. However God leads you, to start back praying for them. If you already know that's something God is leading you to do, you don't have to talk to them. You don't have to, reach out and communicate unless God tells you to. But I just kind of want to, I don't know why I feel like saying implore, implore you, I don't know, to pray for them right now, okay? Some things God showed me, they really, really, really need your prayers right now. So they're up against some things, and they really need your prayers. And your prayers are going to be what helps get them through. And I'm hearing the prayers of the righteous availeth much. and pray without ceasing. Okay. Again, you don't have to reach out to the person unless God tells you to. And I'm telling you this because God has been telling me this. Because Lord have mercy, y'all. God has been telling me this. Just pray. Just cover them in prayer. Include them in your daily prayers. You can still exercise boundaries. You can still, follow God's leading, but your prayers are definitely needed right now, okay? Because of what they're battling and what they're up against. And for some people, y'all are the only ones they have to pray for them. And at this point, it's about their souls. It's about their souls, okay? Jesus is Lord. Okay, you guys. So that was basically it. I just want to encourage y'all to continue to keep people in your prayers and know that God hasn't forgotten about any of y'all. And look, I'm in the same boat where I'm trying to figure out some things, Matter of fact, if God leads anybody to sow, please do so. And for the people who have sold, there's some people who have sold, on their own throughout this month. And I thank God for y'all. And I always cover it in prayer. And if you see me, if you sow through Cash App, because that's the only way I have that, and on Chime as well. But all I can really do is reply with a heart. But know that heart means thank you. And I've covered it in prayer. And I'm praying that God gives it back to you ×3. And I'm praying that God blesses you a trillionfold. Not necessarily, I want God to give you whatever you sowed. I want you to get it back at least ×3 as far as monetary value. But I also want you to have more than that, like discernment. When y'all see me write stuff like, I pray God blesses it a trillionfold, things can come back to you in more ways than just money. I want it to come back to you in ways that are priceless and in ways that money can't buy. So like money can't buy discernment. Money can't buy wisdom. Money can't give you the ability to hear God more clearly. So those are things that I'm praying for as well. But and that's for everybody, whether you're able to sow or not. That's for everybody, for everybody to grow in their relationship with God, to understand their gifts better, and for God to give y'all strength through this walk, because Lord knows we need it. So, but y'all, anyways, even if you can, just keep me in prayer, you guys. Please continue to keep me in prayer. I'm praying for y'all as well. And I think that's about it. And if God gives me anything else to share, y'all know I'm going to share it. I'm a little tired. Y'all been fighting allergies and other stuff. But God has been wanting me to make this update. And I know I will think a lot clearer once I make this update. Even though I don't know if I said enough or if anybody needs to hear any of this stuff or not. But I just wanted to, go ahead and do it and be obedient for whoever needs it, okay? All right, you guys, I love y'all so much. I'm trying to make sure I said everything, so I have to come back on here. Hold on. Okay, I'm going over this stuff one last time. So promotions are coming. A transfer of power is taking place, and that's going to look different ways. Like I mentioned, God related the transfer of powers to kingdom marriage as well. That spouse being taken from one place it should have never been, from one place they should have never been, brought back home or wherever they were supposed to be to begin with. Same thing goes for prodigal children. Jesus is Lord. That child being removed from that place because God is exposing things to them in that place. Him making it so uncomfortable for them to even stay there. Okay. And God has been showing me 2:12 a lot today, especially to prepare. Preparations are in order to be getting prepared. I don't care what it looks like. Y'all, if only y'all knew right now. Like, we need some things right now. But you know what? All the times we've been through this, where it comes to this point, and I don't know how I'm going to take care of needs or bills and stuff when we get to this point. Every time we get here, I'm normally stressed out like crazy, right? I'm normally running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I told y'all God has been pulling me more to focus on ministry and not letting me do my delivery job so much. He let me do it the other day, right? Because I asked him, I said, Daddy, I feel like driving. Can I please go drive? And he let me go do the driving. But my customer didn't even tip. And so, and it was in some really nice neighborhoods too. And so God has made it crystal clear to me that he's not going to meet my needs that way anymore. He doesn't desire to meet my needs that way anymore. So, but it's like this go round, I have peace. You know what I mean? I may not know how things are going to happen or get taken care of, but I have peace in a way I've never experienced before. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if y'all could feel it too, but just continue to trust God no matter what your position looks like. Oh, I forgot. Okay, some people have been honeymooning with God too. Jesus is Lord. Some of y'all have been honeymooning with him and getting to know his love in a new way, which is such a beautiful experience. And I'm going to have to definitely do a video on that, on what he's shown me, because I also had a honeymoon period with him. So part of why him allowing me to just having me reshare stuff that I've already put a lot of time in with him on, and a lot of the dreams he gives me are timeless for different times and seasons for different people. That's been allowing me to have this honeymoon time with him. That's been beautiful, you know, of him giving me a deeper understanding of his love, right? A deeper revelation and understanding of his love for us. And yeah, I'm trying to see how much time I got because I don't want to talk too long. But I'm gonna have to make a separate video on that because it'll be extremely lengthy, and I want to better take my time on it for whoever wants to hear it. But yeah, some of y'all have been going through a honeymoon period with God, where he's been showing you a deeper level of his love for you. And you know, the first time I really got to understand his love in a new way, it was right after I had a huge loss, right? And I don't know if, you know, anybody needs to hear this, but I literally had a huge loss, and God had instructed me to go somewhere that I did not want to go. And it was really painful. The whole experience was painful for me, and I didn't understand. I had peace because I knew I was being obedient, but at the same time, it hurt. It hurt. And I don't even know how to explain it, but it was just like something about that experience changed things for me on the inside. And it caused me to see God in a way that I don't think I could have ever saw him before had I not had to go through that, you know, that pain, that experience. So even though it was like one of the most painful experiences I ever had, I came to know God in a way that I don't think I ever would have had I not went through that pain, had I not had that experience. You know what I mean? So some of y'all may have experienced a great loss, you know, some pain. Jesus is Lord. It's something beautiful about the breaking process, right? When you know God has your best interests at heart and you trust him and you walk with him through it, it's something very beautiful about that breaking process. Jesus is Lord, y'all. I'm sorry. But some of y'all have recently experienced that. Some of y'all recently experienced that, so you know what I'm talking about. And I remember when I had that loss and God was trying to get me to talk to him, and I was kind of holding back because I didn't want to offend him, because the way I was feeling, because I was feeling some type of way, because I literally had these losses because I obeyed him. I was doing what he told me to do, and it led to... I gotta share another dream with y'all. Lord have mercy. He want me to share it. Okay, I gotta share this other dream with y'all. It's a dream he gave me. I already shared it. I did what God told me to do, and it led to me losing these things. Me obeying him led to the loss, okay? I felt like there were other options that would have been better, and I wouldn't have to lose anything. But I obeyed God. I did what he told me to do, and it led to it. And when I followed his instructions, he was pleased. Now, it hurt, and I didn't understand. And when he was trying to get me to talk to him and tell him how I feel, and I finally sit there and talk to him, I said, you know, I always tell God he don't owe me nothing. He owe me nothing. So I don't want to, you know, complain about nothing or say what he should have done or what he could have done, because who do I think I am? He owes me nothing. He's already done more than enough. God came to me at a young age, and had he not come to me at a young age, I wouldn't be here. So it's like my heart posture with him is always like he's already done more than enough. He's already given me more than enough. You know, as many times as I've fallen short, the fact that he's still here, he's given me more than enough. And so anyways, when I had this experience, basically, y'all, and God finally got me to talk to him, I couldn't even complete a sentence without breaking down and crying. And I was like, I feel like you broke my heart. I told God, I feel like you just broke my heart. because basically you gave me instructions that led to this fall. It led to this pain. And then all these people mocking me, and they, they looking at me a certain way, and I'm obeying you, right? And I don't know, I can't even explain to you how it happened, but for me, going through that breaking experience with him, pouring out my heart with him, and still trusting him, and still allowing him to console me and be there with me, and to trust him still, to be everything he said he would be to me. I got to know his love in a new way through that breaking process. That was the first time I had an elevated experience of knowing his love in a new way, and it would have never happened had I not been broken to that degree. And recently I got that's been elevated for me even higher, and I didn't know it could go higher than that. That's a promotion for some of y'all. If y'all been experiencing him in those higher heights, that's a form of promotion. We get promoted spiritually too in gifts. It is a gift to get close to God on that level, and money can't buy that. Some people just want money. Let my promotion be some money so I can get this done. And I get you on that. I understand we need money in the world, you know what I mean, to have certain things a necessity. But if you are getting a promotion, a spiritual promotion of getting to a closer level to God, don't sleep on that, because that's something that money can't buy. So some of y'all are experiencing that as well. And he called it like a honeymoon stage, where he's bringing you in closer to him right before, your person as well, right before y'all go into that marriage covenant with your kingdom spouse, right? So it's like you and God's relationship are coming, like, I don't know how to explain it, y'all. It's just, he called it the honeymoon period, and it could last longer for others, but then he also brought up another dream, another message he had me share called Father of the Bride. Jesus is Lord, y'all. I'm gonna listen to those things and the different messages and words he's bringing up to see which ones he wants me to release later. But I just wanted to give y'all this update on everything. A lot of transitions are about to take place, and no matter what things look like, if you have surrendered everything to God, if you belong to God, you've been doing things God's way. You're where he wants you to be. You have closed doors to sin, to the enemy, then just trust God wherever you are, and be at peace in the midst of the storm, and know that you are not alone, not even a little bit, okay? Jesus is Lord. Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. I keep randomly smiling because when I tell you me and God been honeymooning, we've been honeymooning. And and even with the things I'm dealing with, I still find myself, I can't help but smile, I can't help but smile because all he's been doing, even amidst the distractions. It's been so many distractions, God. But, okay, you guys, that was basically it. This was basically an update. Y'all keep me in prayers. I'm going to be resharing those poems soon as well, along with more dreams that he's telling me to reshare, and anything else. It's a few other new ones I need to share. Y'all pray, please keep me in prayer for our strength and energy. It's been a couple of attacks as well. It's so annoying, but it's been a couple of attacks as well. I feel like that's been trying to kind of attack my energy a little bit. But I love y'all so much. I love y'all so much. I'm not going to hold y'all no longer. I love y'all so much. Y'all continue to be blessed and to trust God with everything, no matter what it looks like. He has the final say. God is in control of everything, no matter what it looks like. He's always been in control, okay? All right, y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. And that was it. Y'all be blessed.